something in the air. The proof is all around us.
It's not a matter of time.
Hello, everybody. What is going on? This is Jesse Blaze Snider, the coolest geek alive. If you listen to my entertainment show every Wednesday and Saturday, I hope you're listening to it as well. Just Jesse Blaze Snider. If you listen to everything they don't want you to know, hello. Hello. How are you? I'm good. It's an interesting time in this reality. I feel like people are dealing with a lot of things that they've never quite dealt with before. My father, who has been sort of notoriously the man staying in the 3D, has been kind of clobbered on the head recently with a lot of situations outside of his control, essentially urging him to try something different. And the illusion of control is a very interesting conversation, because we think that we have so much control over things because of, let's say, something like a seatbelt. Better technology for fighting bad guys or fighting crime or whatever the case may be. Statistics often give us a sort of misunderstanding of what's really happening in our reality. Because you see a bunch of statistics and this many people died of heart attacks and that many people died of cancer, and if one goes up or one goes down, we're doing something to control this. But the reality is, there's a lot of names for a lot of different diseases and ailments and things that might occur in your life. But they are all representative of misalignments within your energy field. And this sounds like a crazy thing to so many people who are still living in the 3D, but this is very much just science. And I'll start by just explaining a couple of the building blocks of this apparatus that you're really being governed by. There's a great book called The Field. I forget the guy's name who wrote it, but it was one of the early books that went around the Snider family a decade and a half ago now, and helped us to sort of really start to recapitulate what reality really was. And The Field shows that everything is connected, everything is one, as I taught in early episodes or tried to remind you guys of early episodes of the show. I was going over Hermetic principles. Everything is one, and everything is connected. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? The idea for both. Idea comes before form. Time and space, these are all concepts. On the other side of things is essentially this supercomputer that has thought everything that can possibly be thought, and has gone on to think other things that have no bearing on this reality that we're in right now. So we are concepts living inside of concept. The very 3D reality that we have created here is an illusion. It is a shared illusion that we are under, but it is an illusion. We are living in a collective consciousness. So when we believe things together, they become true. But ultimately, this energy field, the energy fields of all things, are governing them. And they are all presenting or creating a individual universe for each other that, could be seen to be stacked right on top of each other. All of our realities are stacked on top of each other. And then concepts are keeping us apart, and stationed wherever we may be stationed and going around the universe, however we may be going around the universe. Our field is created, as you'll see in this book, The Field, if you go and buy it. It's created the moment we're conceived, like the moment the egg and the sperm touch, this energetic field of what we are going to grow into is built. and we begin to grow into the adult version of ourselves in this field. So like this invisible field that you can't see is essentially, what's up, Tim? Is essentially a architecture of who you are, who you're going to be. And the physical problems that we experience on Earth are representative of energetic ailments that we have going on within our fields. So the journey here on planet Earth is to heal our fields and rise above all this stuff. What's up, Michael? How's it going? And this can be easy for people to understand when they talk about something like manifesting a cancer. Often in spiritual circles, you may hear people say that cancer is associated with anger. And interestingly, as I came to find that out years after having a number of people who were relatively close to my parents that I knew die of cancer, and all of the people that I knew who died of cancer, I would say that was a dominant feature in their personality, a quiet anger. And that does seem to be a true thing. There's a friend of mine who has something called diverticulitis, and I meditated deeply upon it at some point because I was interested in helping to guide my friend. And they told me that it was about basically taking on too much responsibility in his family and feeling guilt over the disarray that was in his family. And they didn't really have to say much about this to me because I was his best friend, and I knew very well that there was all sorts of trouble going on in his family kind of all the time, and he was the stable one, desperately trying to keep them together. He loved having them together and having things be nice. And when things wouldn't be nice, it affected him so hardcore. And ultimately, it developed into this stomach ulcer where he couldn't eat like little seeds. A lot of people can get on ailment, like a physical injury. I broke my leg, and that's because I feel unstable in my family. Can I just tell you that right now there was a sort of a weird spiritual thing that happened with my family where we were all like, I think, extra tied to my father because he's been having some issues with his body, and we all ended up hurting our back at the exact same moment in time. Same day, whatever else. I haven't hurt my back in 8 months. I've been in the gym, feeling really great, and out of nowhere, I hurt my back. And then I didn't even want to tell my family because I'm going to help them. I didn't want them to worry about me. But I just had to tell them because everybody was like, I hurt my back. I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. Energetic, no. Spiritual, no. I mean, granted, again, it's not really spiritual. It's all science. So I'm so sorry. I had a whole bunch of like glitching going on when I recorded this earlier, and I'm just like sort of patching together from this like big glitch that I didn't see was going on while I was making the show. But I was trying to tell a story that I told my father, who was sort of asking me similarly about like this, like the universe sending you messages like that you're not in control. And the beginning of this story went a little something like this. Me and my girl were going through this this kind of a loop. It was really on me. I kept having like a bad something that I wanted to like fight about, something I was getting upset about, I was getting hurt about. And at a certain point, she said, like, you do this every weekend. And I was just, because I was feeling like I was doing it every weekend, and I was trying to get my shit under control. And I dedicated an entire week to meditating and like figuring out what I was going to do if she said this or if this happened or whatever, so that I would be in control of the situation and I wouldn't, like, the same thing wouldn't happen again. And we went out to see a band that we really liked, Ninja Gandhi. Shout out to Ninja Gandhi if that's not on the part that you're going to hear in a second. And basically we were having a great time, and it was going really good. After the show, we were hanging out with the band and the friends, and I'll let myself take it from here. Hanging out with their girlfriends and all the people who like work with them. We're having a nice time. We end up at this like theater, open air theater, where they've got a hypnotist show. And somebody says, Oh, you should get hypnotized. You should go up there and get hypnotized. Now, strange. I used to be a very major skeptic and atheist, and I had like the biggest bone to pick with hypnotists. And I've now read enough books of people doing this the right way, and familiar with Dolores Cannon. She's a great person to investigate when it comes to hypnotism. And like, if you have any doubts about it, listen to her whole story, and she'll really, because she's just like so matter of fact about everything and how she went about it, and all the things that I imagined people were doing to get these results went out the window. With her and a couple other people. Another book that went around my family like fire was Many Lives, Many Masters. I recommended it on the reincarnation episode. I'd recommend it again. So, where was I in this story here? So, hypnotism. I was very skeptical about it. I used to think that... or I should say, I had this intuitive knowing that I couldn't be hypnotized. However, part of meditation is getting yourself into these states where you can be more open to suggestion and whatnot, and you can commune with higher spirits, your higher self. All of us have guides, a master guide that sort of acts as like a guardian and a muse. I've talked about this before, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So I had this little struggle in my mind. Do I go up there and try to be hypnotized? I have this suspicion that I can't be hypnotized, but, I can meditate, but I'll be meditating like up on stage in front of, I don't know, at least 500 people, maybe even like 1,000. Like, I'm not sure. I didn't do like a count, but it was like a full house, and it was a pretty big outdoor auditorium that they had set up, somewhere in the middle of that, I guess. And right before I'm about to go up on the stage, or thinking about it, Julie, she says something to me that is like a thing that she says to me a lot, but she thinks she's saying something good, but it always sort of just devastates me in the moment, where she would sort of like frame the progress we were making on sort of like being normal again. And she'd be like, "You're here in the middle somewhere now." I'd be like, "I thought I was doing good. Like, I thought it could come at any moment. Who knows?" Like, and then it was like, "You're here." And I was like, "Oh, I hate that." And she saw it on my face, and she's like, "Are you okay?" "Oh shit, I said something bad." And I'm like, "I'm not, it's all right." And she's like, no, what is it?" And I'm like, "No." And she asked me a third time. This shit I'm going through sometimes, So I go, "All right, I'm going up on the stage and I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go get hypnotized." I'm a pretty good actor. It's because I was very self-conscious as a kid, so I was always kind of acting. And then I got very good as a voiceover actor in a voiceover booth without anybody watching me for many, many years. I got pretty good at acting. And this guy gives a whole spiel at the beginning of his show that, like, if you're up there to, like, fuck with him, like, get out of here right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to go along. Well, apparently I went along too convincingly, because after he put us to sleep on the stage, he stands in front of me and gestures to the crowd like, "I got a good one here." And I'm not hypnotized. I was literally just doing what the man said because I was supposed to do the thing. So now, the thing that I most feared, that I would have to be up on stage for an hour pretending to be hypnotized. That's my life. That's what I'm living. And it's a fucking nightmare. He dismisses 10 out of the 15 people who were on stage with me. And I'm left with like 3 people to my left and 2 people to my right who clearly have never been on stage in their life. And they are just thrilled to be up here doing some stupid thing that they could tell people, oh yeah, they're all hypnotized. So I'm in the middle. And the first thing we are asked to do is dance to Gangnam Style in the middle of the stage. So I'm trying not to fuck up this dude's show. And I jump up and I don't remember the Gangnam Style dance. So I start doing some sort of lasso thing. It's great. The audience is really enjoying it. And I am having a crisis of conscience because I'm a very genuine person. Tim and Michael will tell you I do not like to misrepresent myself or be misrepresented. And the idea that I am like fooling an audience into thinking that I'm hypnotized when I'm not is really bothering me. And after I finish doing this Gangnam Style dance, I'm like winded as fuck. Like I'm so tired from this fucking Gangnam Style dance. La 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 la. Like he had us up there for a while. I was like, motherfucker, like tell us to do something else because I am done with this shit. And when I went back to my my seat, I think I played possum, like I played dead for the rest of the thing, and I just pretended I was unconscious because I didn't want to participate. I was tired from the first thing. He wanted me to like do something with a Barbie or something, and I was just like, I'm not doing it. I mean, I didn't say it. I just pretended to be sleeping, and I'm sure I ended his show early, and I'm sure, but like I was not about to like fucking jump around pretending to be hypnotized, but I still had to lay on the stage pretending to be, asleep or whatever for a while. And when I finally got off the stage, I was not happy. And I walked over to my group and I just sort of needed them to know I was not hypnotized and I am not amused and I would like to leave. But I was so kind of gruff and I've got a really big energy that I kind of spooked my girl. And she immediately kind of tried to defend the group from me. And it broke my heart. And I remembered like what she had just said prior to me going on stage. And now I'm all hot from being in my worst fucking nightmare. And within moments, her and I are back to the same fucking stupid argument that I had been having with her. And after like a few minutes, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I did it again. How did I do it again? And I had some good excuses. I'm like, what are the fucking, like this fucking, what a test this was. I didn't plan to come to a fucking hypnotist. I didn't plan to fucking be stuck on stage. But I got into such an upset place. I got so weakened by a reality that I couldn't control that I did the same thing again. So the next day or the day after, I don't remember exactly how it went down. And this is going to be the sound the weirder one. And, once you become open to these things happen to everybody. But most people just explain it another way or whatever else. But this was an interesting one. we had gone to the Queen Mary, which is a very spooky ship. A lot of people died on that ship, and a lot of angry souls. And I had been on great behavior. I was like so fucking just mortified that ultimately I did the same fucking thing again. And after really efforting to not do that, but I still hadn't learned my lesson. So I'm efforting all weekend, and I'm not in the best mood. And I am, annoyed, and I'm just like sort of feeling annoyed, but I'm not letting it show. And I am on my best behavior. And I am just like, she's not annoying. I'm annoyed. And I was annoyed. And, and it's like, sometimes when you're annoyed, the other person's like trying harder. Just, this is annoying. Stop trying so hard. But I was cool. I was really cool all day long. But at the end of this day, we're in the kitchen. And she says something out of left field. And I would even say that she had just maybe spoken out of turn, just kind of misphrased what she was trying to say. But I didn't like it if it was like really being said to me like point blank like that. And I was in a bit of this state. And because it was such a clear and present, I don't like that. I don't like that being said to me. Even though maybe if I even thought about it for a second, it wasn't exactly meant to be what it kind of sounded like in passing. I don't remember what it was. But I went, meh. And I like just kind of snapped at her. And she got really upset that I snapped at her. And then within 2 seconds, I like brought up the other fucking conversation. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was like, what? Ah! But this time, it like came out of me and I was like, whoo, pull it back. I started trying to take it back immediately. But I'm with a fiery redhead and she went, what the actual fuck? That was like egregious. You just went this and then like, I don't like it. So you went this and like, fuck you. And like, she zipped off. She's going to sleep in another room, all this stuff. And I head over to her and I'm just asking her, please don't do that. Because like, it's like, I've smoked marijuana for many years as like my ADHD medicine and anxiety medicine. And I was trying to smoke, like not at all. And I was just like, please, will you just like talk to me for another couple minutes? Just like, 'cause she was like, I gotta go to bed. And like this is like a terrible way to go to bed. And I just said, please, just talk to me, like for a minute. 'Cause like, I'm just like, if you leave it like this, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna smoke and I'm just gonna like be upset with myself that I smoked. But it's going to be the path of least resistance for me being upset with myself because, like, we just did this. And she's still mad. And she's just like, nah. And I shit you not. This is what happened. I go to the garage. And I lay down on a couch that's in there to just meditate or fester. And almost as soon as I lay down in there, man, I swear to you, I feel what I know is a very powerful, evil entity. It is so close to me, like energetically, that it makes an indentation in the couch that I'm laying on. I can feel its shins like against the couch. It's leaning against the couch and slightly against me. And you can read about some of these beings. They pull the light out of the room, and it was dark in there, but there's some windows from the garage, so like there's a little bit of light, and I was watching light disappear from the room, and there are a lot of people who can like see things like this. I tend never to really see them, but I feel them. I can perceive them. I can tell you how far away they are. If they're really close to me, if they're far away from me, I can watch them move around a room without actually seeing anything physically there. I just kind of sense it. And I had my eyes open, at a certain point, and I watched, like the light get sucked out of the room. And the thing that I know about all of these entities is that us in a body here in the 3D, this is the place they want to be. But they feed on our energy by making us upset, getting us to have an argument with our spouse, and then sucking on the energy. And I went outside to like fester in this fucking doom and gloom of, fuck, I did it again, this thing that I didn't want to do. And this thing, he was the scariest entity I've ever come across, even though I still smiled at him in my mind. But I said something to the effect of, ooh, you're scary. And he was. He like peeled up like a centipede. I felt him like very, very, very slowly, and like stood up really tall and broad, like to show me how big he was. And he was like 8 feet tall. Felt like maybe 7 feet tall. He was, large. He was kind of skinny though. It felt like a caterpillar thing, like looming over me. And I was just in there for like a moment before my lovely lady thought better about leaving me in the gloom of that argument, as I asked her very much, begged her, really, please, please, can we just like not go to bed upset with each other? And she came to find me. And when she opened the door, I heard it open very slowly, and I hear her go, Jesse? And I am dealing with this thing, and I go, my girl's very psychic, and I say, can you see this thing? And she goes, I don't know what I'm seeing, but can you please get out of the garage? And I left the garage, and we went inside, and we burned a bunch of sage, and I did a couple basically like spells that I know to get rid of entities like this, because there's a certain amount of power that we have here. We can banish bad vibes and things like that when they come along. But that week I sat with this thing of like, man, it happened despite my best efforts. First, a situation that I couldn't control, and then ultimately another situation, a weird situation that I couldn't control. Something kind of got in me and got it out of me again. And I realized that this lesson was something that I did understand. And it was all about that we're not in control. You are meant to change how you're feeling about these things. You're meant to change your perspective. You're not meant to set up a scenario to block that thing from ever happening again. Because if you're meant to get into a car accident and go flying through the windshield, you're going to forget your seatbelt that one time. And all these statistics put us into a false sense of security. I've talked about this a little bit before. They say that we have 5 exit points in our life that are preordained. We figure it out ahead of time. So we walk around and we're like, oh, this might kill us and that might kill us. Really only one thing is going to kill us. And we have a number of points that we've set up depending on how things are going, how we're feeling about things, when we might leave. So all of these exit strategies are based on where you are in your spiritual journey, where you are in your health. Do I think I'm going to come out of this spiral that I'm in right now, or am I going to stay in here and this is going to get worse? If so, I think it might be time for me to head out the door, and I'll come back as a baby and I'll see if I can do this a little better next time. And again, the plan that we make next time is based on our best calculations on the other side, based on that godly perception of time and possibility and all these things. And apparently all that matters is the now. And generally speaking, the now is filled with probabilities that are like, 99% Jesse does this. 90% Jesse does this. 95% Jesse does this. And then occasionally it's 20% chance Jesse does what we need him to do. 80% he does what he's always done. And those are the big pivotal moments in our life where we choose differently. And the choosing differently is not, I put on a seatbelt. Any energy that is ultimately rooted in a fear and control is fucking up your life in one way or another. Like I wear seatbelts. I went like 2 years not wearing seatbelts as like sort of like a leap of faith for myself. And now I wear them generally just as a community sort of thing. In the group, we're all wearing the seatbelts and all that stuff. But I do view them fundamentally as a spiritual bump that most people have in their reality. And they have a million spiritual bumps. A little thing that they've done to avoid a certain worst case scenario that they never want to face again. But the more you protect yourself from a thing, the more you bring that thing into your reality, as we learn in the laws of attraction and all the various episodes that we've done talking about these sort of concepts. So, what is this to say? It's to say that there are fundamental fears that we all hold. It may not be in this lifetime, but all of your fears are meant to be reconciled. I understood this very clearly, very fast in my spiritual awakening, and it terrified me because I thought, if I accept my fear of jumping out of an airplane, then I'm going to have to do it. And I'm terrified to do it. And I remember during a deep meditation, I was communing with God or my higher self. I don't remember which. And I think it was God. And I sort of like made a deal or sort of had them sort of assure me of something. That if I accept it, my fear of jumping out of a plane was unfounded and it's okay, and I'm going to do it. I accepted that I was going to do it. Did I have to do it immediately? Or could I do it at a time in the future where it was the right time and it was easier for me to do? And, they said, absolutely. And I made similar agreements about a number of things at that time. It's like I said, I was sort of being asked to change up, and I was terrified to release some of these fears. But, and I haven't jumped out of the airplane yet, although I can tell you that I'm not afraid of it anymore. I mean, there's a part of me that's a little afraid of it, but I'm okay with doing it. I'm okay with doing it. And I made the agreement to myself a long time ago that when the time was right, and I told my daughter when she was ready and wanted to do it, I would do it with her. And I've been waiting for her to, when she's, no, I'm not waiting for her, but whenever she wants to do it, I'm going to do it, even though on some level it terrifies me. But, I want to graduate from this school. I don't want to be afraid of anything anymore. I played football, and I recommend people, do fighting, do physical contact sports, do things to get over your fears of violence. Get over your fears of the dark. Get over your fears of intimacy. Get over all of your fears. And you don't get over them by hiding from them, by making little amendments to prevent that from ever happening again. We need not fear death around every corner. There's a plan and an ebb and a flow to all these things. God, the consciousness, is trying to make the most of all of our experiences and, grow us fastest and best and do the right things by us all. It is us. We are God. And I know that seems like a blasphemous, but we are. We're just a drop of it. We're smaller. We're not the whole thing that sees all the things. But we are a little piece of that thing experiencing itself with a whole bunch of other pieces of the thing. And, and that's okay. You don't have to be ashamed to know that, because without knowing that, you can never be the fullest expression of God as you. But knowing that you have all this power within you, and that ultimately there's nothing God wants more than for you to be the fullest expression of itself through you. And that is very likely not going to come anywhere near what God is, but opening yourself to the idea that you are from that infinite source of things should open you up to a scale of what you are and what you're really capable of. We tend to scale ourselves so small. I'm a little human. No, you're the spark of infinity. You're everything. And there's so much that you can accomplish. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. If you are out there and you're experiencing these lessons from the universe of, hey, you're not in control. I know that you very much want to feel in control and think that you're in control, but hey, buddy, that just ain't the case. Try to face the things with as much acceptance as possible. Try not to avoid the situation, just accept that the situation may come. And don't make a plan to do away with it or move on to it, but, do a plan to take a moment for yourself, go to the bathroom, adjust what you're doing, and try to wrap your head around thinking about it in a new way. The way that I find most defying and aggravating and wonderful is saying, good. I'm glad this happened, because I needed this to happen, because clearly I'm not in control of myself the way I want to be. And by this happening, this gives me an opportunity to overcome not feeling right about all of this and get into a better place in the future. And every time this happens, I am having a new relativity to the last time, and it's lessening and lessening and lessening how much I care about this. And each time I see this with clearer eyes, I get closer and closer to a better view of the situation as it is, and a better handling of the situation, not from an emotional place where I'm compromised and I'm trying to now get an emotional reaction out of the other person, whether I know it or not, but from a place where I'm just respecting myself and respecting other people. And that's where we want to get. That's the whole journey. So, try not to put the hands up. It's a weird thing, but like in a car accident, right? People sometimes are sleeping in a car when a car goes running off the road, and oftentimes the person who is sleeping comes out of the car wreck completely unscathed. They don't experience any broken bones, anything, because they just go with the flow and they're loosey-goosey and they flow with it like water, my friend. And that is really the best advice that you can be given when it comes to the real sort of control that you have. The control that you have is to bend like water, my friend. That is how you can go with things. You can allow for things. Here comes that train. I'm going to move out of the way of that train. I'm going to skillfully even use that train's momentum to motivate me into my next cycle so I can get through this faster. And I can overcome these things and be the man, person, woman, whatever that you want to be on planet Earth. Anyway, that is it for everything they don't want you to know. I'll take some of these comments or whatever because I think there's a couple where I'm live streaming. But yeah, if you're not listening to the show every Monday night, please, usually it's Monday night. Every Monday night, everything they don't want you to know, you got to listen. And every Wednesday night, I usually have an episode of Cool Geek Alive out. And every Saturday, there's a review, or really just me gushing about some great TV show or something else like that. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. Hope you join me again next Monday for another fucking awesome episode of Everything They Don't Want You to Know. And remember, try not to control your reality. Have faith and have fun and enjoy the now.
There's something in the water. There's something in the air. The proof is all around us.
It's not a matter of time. Sure as the blaze in your eyes, I sense a subtle shift. Instincts I can't resist. Weary of wolves in disguise. Drunk on a gallon of wine. Red as the rivers you dried. Bad apples spoil the punch. Bruises and rotten fronts. You've got a thirst you can't hide.
There's something in the water. There's something in the air. The proof is all around us. The symptoms are everywhere. There's something in the water. There's something in the air. The proof is all around us. The symptoms are everywhere.
Might be a fault of design.